Hey, welcome to another Valley Forged. Today we are talking about 10 business ideas or ways to make money with a diode laser. And funny enough, it's a 10-part series on that subject. In fact, we started last time with starting a business with a diode laser. I suggest you go watch that after this video is just fine. Of course, like and subscribe and all that stuff so you can just watch them all. Lots of really good information here. I can say that because I have done nearly all of these things. So I am speaking as someone from experience and somebody who does this for a living. Yeah, I don't have another job. This is what I do. So I am always looking for ways to diversify the way that I make money with my lasers. Because when I wake up in the morning, this is what I want to do. So that's what I do, right? It's wonderful, and I really highly suggest it for everyone, but it can take some time. So let's just start out with the 10 different ways. By no means is this an exhaustive list of what you can do. In fact, if you have any more suggestions, please leave a comment below. I will appreciate it, and everybody watching the videos will appreciate it. Now, I'll just start with the obvious one. Farmers markets, craft shows, events, things like that, maker fairs. Great way to make money. And a lot of you won't. And you'll think, hey, I thought this was a way to make money. And you'll, go out to your first show and it'll make less money than it costs to actually set up. And it takes a lot of time and effort to do it. So you'll think, oh, it's not worth it. And you're probably right. The thing about doing craft shows is they're very hit or miss. And you can't necessarily see what will sell at all shows when you're doing one show. I have done farmers markets for 3-4 weeks and made no money, and everything went terrible. Now, had that been my first experience, I would have thought, oh, my product's not very good, or my stuff doesn't sell, or this isn't worth it, something like that. Whereas you try a different show and then you sell everything, within the first couple hours, and you're sitting at an empty table for the rest of the day. And this is really how it works. It's a matter of just keep trying, and again, this is going to take a while and it may cost you some money. I would really say doing it part-time, or at least you have a little bit of money to get started, to take your time, learn which shows work and which ones don't. I am getting ready to do a show in April, and it's only late February now. And instead of doing a bunch of shows, now I only do about 4 to 8 per year, probably about 8. 4 during the year and then 4 more during Christmas, because that's when you make your money. But those shows, I will probably, do about $8,000-$10,000 per show. And so they are worth doing it for me, and it's worth taking my time making my products. But I already know what sells, and I already know what sells at those shows. And how did I find out about those shows? By doing shows and by asking people and saying, which shows are good, which shows aren't, where did you sell? It's a process. It takes about a year of doing this to really figure out what sells and what shows work. What shows? There's some shows that you make $10,000, but they cost you $2,000 or $3,000 to enter. And what if things go badly or whatever? There's so much chance of losing money. The shows that I'm doing maybe cost couple $100. I like 2-day shows because a lot of times once you set up, you're set up for the 2 days. So it just works out to be a lot better financially to be able to do it that way. So, again, it's just a process and it's going to take time. Another thing about doing craft shows is that you are going to get, this is another one, is you are going to get orders, special orders, personalized orders from the shows that you do. And so what I do is I make these things called Around to It, and this is my card and I just hand them out willy-nilly. I use my scraps, my laser scraps, for making these, and I hand them out. People don't throw them away. They give them to other people. You will get business from this. I think business cards are kind of dead, and you see a lot of the trash can. They don't keep them. But if you make something that's, they can give to other people or that they can remember for later, it's really helpful. But a lot of times you'll just, you'll give them your information right there, and they'll say, hey, I need you to make this for me. And you can get ongoing business from that. And this has happened to me many, many times. So even if you're not making money at, say, a weekly farmer's market, a lot of times you will get orders from that. So that's another way of making business, because after a while, you may get so many private customers that you no longer want to go out and do the farmers markets because you're too busy with all of the orders that you got from your steady business. So there are ways to make that work. I mean, and another thing is, the more shows you do, the more feedback you're going to get, the better you're going to get. You're going to get used to setting up. Say you got invited to a really great show to make and you could make a lot of money, but you don't know your craft yet. And so you're making things that aren't very good, that don't sell, that you're pricing wrong, and you didn't get your tent set up right or whatever. There's so many little factors that doing smaller shows first is kind of better because you get used to the process. Because you will forget things your first couple of times out. It's just the way that it goes. And if you were to pay $2,000 to do this big show and then, I forgot my credit card reader, or it didn't work right, or I didn't expect this, it's just not a good way to start. So do some small shows that don't cost you too much money. Indoor shows are amazing if you can do them just to get started, because there is a lot more to doing an outdoor show. Wind happens, weather happens, and it happens to all of us. So there is a lot more factors to doing out show. I don't want to discourage you from doing that. Just, be ready for anything. There's way more to talk about when it comes to doing makers fairs and craft shows, but I'm just going to go through the list. I'll probably do a specific video on craft shows. Business to business. That is another great way. A lot of people making their money just selling to other businesses. And that can be brick and mortar, or it can be just, people doing sales or something. You think about real estate. They give a gift every time they sell a place, and they want that to be personalized. A lot of people making a living just selling to real estate agents. Or a winery, you can make little boxes for the wine. You can, you could do the same thing for flower shops. So wineries, flower shops, things like that. People that have repeat customers that need some sort of case or personalized thing that they can give away or sell with their product. Hotels, hotel keys, another thing. I'm sure there are people out there making a living just selling with repeat customers hotel keys in their city. Very easy to do with the diode laser, and you can make them any way you want, personalized, yada, yada, yada. Schools, signs, signs for everything. Imagine you don't have to go shopping for a sign. You could just say, hey, I need this sign made. And of course I can make that just the way they want it to. And you get a lot of repeat business that way, especially with big things like schools or corporations or whatnot. Also merch for those places, right? Like a bar needing bottle openers. Personalized bottle openers, personalized coasters, signs, things like that. It's crazy. Lasers are amazing. There's just so much that you could do. I can't even go through a quarter of the things that you can do, but I'm going to keep going. I still got a lot to talk about, but at least by now, I hope I've got your juices flowing. You're starting to think. Retail. That's another thing, even here in the city that I am at, they have a local maker shop where, local crafters have made stuff and they sell them exclusively at that store. That works really well. You are going to take a hit as far as you may have to consign it. You may only be getting, half of what you would normally sell it for. So you have to think about these things, but it is a good way to, get your stuff somewhere so it's not sitting around at your house, and hopefully you can make some money. Gift shops and craft stores. So think about that. You have anything local, good way to see if your stuff is something people would buy. And it doesn't have to be just gift stores or craft stores. I mean, you can sell at regular retail places. Just walk around and see if what you can make would fit in with that, whatever it might be. Next thing I'll mention is Etsy, of course. I sell on Etsy. I think the prices, even though, I hate some of the fees, it's altogether very reasonable for what is given to you. Yeah, starting your own website would sound great, but that's actually more expensive than Etsy when you really get to it, unless you're going to have tons and tons of orders. So getting something like a Shopify account or something like that can be pretty expensive. Etsy is a good way to start. It's a good way to learn. I've been very happy with it. I sell a lot of physical products, but I sell way more digital products. And I haven't been doing it that long. I just started a few months ago selling digital products, and it has really taken off for me. Of course, make good products. I mean, there are so many bad digital products out there that just really don't work. They don't work well with Lightburn because they're made for doing, with Cricut and all these sorts of things, CNCs, different stuff. So they really don't translate that well to doing on Lightburn. So every file I sell is specifically made for Lightburn. I throw in an SVG for people who have other kinds of lasers, like Glowforge or Xtool. People are using my files for that. But not having to sell a physical product is really nice. Not having to go to the post office, not having to deal with all the shipping, all these sorts of things. People from other countries can easily buy it without you having to deal with customs or anything like that. So I highly recommend digital products. They are, fixing a lot of the really garbage products out there and making them for Lightburn, it really helps. So it's a win-win because I buy digital files off Etsy all the time, and I wish they were better. Even the ones that are highly rated, a lot of times I have to completely redo for Lightburn. So, in that, and as one of the things I'm going to talk about in other channels, is know your software. If you're using Lightburn, you really want to know the basics to be able to manipulate lines and things like that, and to be able to recreate things. Because, say, hey, you're going to buy this cross or this lotus flower or this corgi, speaking from experience, and they're not symmetrical. If you could believe it, I mean, a lot of these files are not symmetrical to where one side matches the other. And so I like to, do cutouts to where they're like a puzzle and you put them back together using different types of wood. Well, it's really hard to do when they're not symmetrical. So just fixing that on a lot of files would be super helpful. It's a win-win for everybody. So just think about that. Think about digital files. I prefer to sell to actual people. I really love that whole process, but I don't mind, being able to go anywhere in the world and still be getting paid for my digital products. YouTube. Obviously, I have to mention that because, or any social media really, but I happen to be using YouTube. I think this is a really great way to do exactly what I'm doing, help other people. And by helping other people, you will make a little bit of money. I mean, transparency. I make a couple $100 from YouTube right now. Started out with $5 and it just slowly crept up, and it's taken a couple of years to get where I'm at. And so it isn't a get rich quick thing, but it is rewarding, and it does help you in so many ways. Like, hey, I teach people how to make my digital products and they buy them, and, it's helpful for them because then they get a step-by-step video showing them how to make the thing that they're buying. Whereas most of the time you don't. So there is a lot going on, and I really do recommend YouTube. Just do it. You don't have to get all technical. Look at my background or whatever. It's nothing special. Sound is everything. Just make sure you have a good microphone, and the visuals are great, and you want that to be good, but sound is key. Now, when it comes to doing YouTube, you don't just make money from YouTube. In fact, that's probably the least amount of money that you're going to make. After you get going, people will start sending you lasers. You have that. Also, the larger channels, they can do live, they can do Patreon, they can have members. I haven't really gone too far into that. I think I have it set up, but I have never really pushed it. I'm not really into doing live right now. It's just not my thing. But there are things that you can definitely do. You can get paid directly by laser companies. There have been several laser companies that have reached out and they've said, hey, we'll pay you a certain amount of money to review our product. I don't really like that. In fact, that's not really an experience I like to keep doing. I would prefer they just give me the product for free and then I try it out and tell you about it. I feel a lot better about saying things that are good and bad because when they're paying you to do a review, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. But if it's a company that I already love and, that I'm already super behind, say like Rolly Lasermatic or something, if they were to come to me, and pay me for doing videos, I'd feel a little bit more ethical about that. If Longer did it, I would feel more ethical about that. But some of the other companies, I don't think so. Now, also, you could have outside ads. A lot of people have, say, Squarespace or whatever. Maybe you get My Pillow. I don't know. I'm laughing. Just some, you can get outside sponsorships. And that could possibly work. Obviously, that's going to be later when you have a bigger following. I think at least 10,000 followers. Now, the laser community isn't that huge where there isn't a lot of really big channels out there. So you don't really have to have a ton of subscribers for laser companies to want to work with you because there isn't that many. But I could tell you by how many digital files I'm selling of, say, like the Cross, that there are a lot of people with lasers. I keep thinking, oh, okay, well, I've sold so many to everybody. They're not going to keep buying them, but, every day just keep getting more sales. So a lot of people have lasers, and I think we're in a great, great market. Things are only going up from here. Another way is teaching. So you could get paid to teach people lasers, right? Especially as diode lasers grow and maybe the economy changes and people need to start opening up their own businesses or want to. You could just be a teacher both online, you could have online classes, or you could do physical classes at, say, a makerspace or somewhere. And this is something I'm very interested in doing. There isn't a place locally for me to do that right now, so I'm thinking about opening up my own, a place where we can have lasers and say, if you spend 10 weeks finishing this class, you end the class, you get a laser. And there's definitely ways to work with companies and do something like that. So that is one way. Also, maybe you could teach at a college or something at the maker department of that college. There are ways to teach lasers, and you can make, not just on YouTube, and make money from that. Maybe retraining people from other jobs. So I personally use almost all of these. The teaching one is one I would like to get back to. I was doing that, small businesses with laser, for a while, but I'm not able to do that yet in my current situation. But I pretty much use all of these to make a living doing diodes. And, which in some times of the season, some are better than others. During Christmas, most of these are good. but you'd like to have something that sustains you in the slower months where B2B and things like that, or retail, or B2B, and selling digital products maybe help you get through those slow times until you get back into the summer and then the fall season. So that is quite a few ways to make money with a laser. Again, there are tons more. Leave a comment in the description. Tell me what I missed or ways that have worked for you, because I'd love to pass those on to other people. Definitely more to come when it comes to starting your own business with a diode laser. I got 8 more videos at least to go. So again, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next one. Love y'all.